Welcome to another episode of the Jacob Wayne Show. Let me actually move this microphone up a little bit. Yeah, here we are. It is just after sunset, but I'm still sipping some coffee. Little too early to start having a beer and all that. I'm going to save that for this new game I've been playing called Project Zomboid. It's a survival game. Let me see if I can pull up a little more information on that. It's pretty hardcore. Really easy to die, but you just pop right back up, spawn as a new character, even though you can save your character. None of the items or skill level boosts. Pretty much, yeah, you're just surviving a zombie apocalypse. It's like Walking Dead the game. Open world isometric video game. Independent developer, the Indie Stone. And it's really cool. I don't really want to give any spoilers away. You should just pick it up. It doesn't cost that much. It's kind of got that old school pixelated vibe, which I really like. And you can play it in Microsoft Windows, OS X, Linux, and it can have like massive multiplayer abilities. So it's not restricted to just 4 players or anything like that. And as I'm talking, my knee just did this thing. I guess that just happens as you get a little bit older, like where it really hurts to stretch it out. Not really. There it goes. It's gone now. I don't think I'd survive in the zombie apocalypse very well in real life. That's why it's fun to play video games like this, because you don't have to worry about actual knee pain. It's just my character has knee pain. I'm going to move a little slower. Okay, I can survive. Also been playing this game called Grounded. It's another survival game. It's a little easier. Not to say that it's easy, but it seems a little more built around building, and that is restricted to 4 players, but a little more streamlined in terms of how you're supposed to upgrade things and move forward with the story and things of that nature. And that one's a little bit kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the video game. It's, yeah, you're just kids that get shrunk and you're in the backyard of this scientist or something like that. So pretty much is that. That one's a lot of fun though, and so I'm going to be balancing gameplay between those two. And then eventually get back to Valheim with the Mistlands update that pissed me off wildly last time I played. It's good. It's good. It's just, holy shit. I was getting frustrated. So, right off the bat, I guess we're doing video games, but let's get to the Jacob Wayne Show Facebook page, and we can do our little scroll through. I think I might do a trailer reaction at the end of this, and call it good. Might be a shorter episode today, but we'll see. Let's see here. Yeah, let's just do music. One album suggestion that I will say is Yin Yin. That's Yin, Yin. It's a first tone Mandarin, it looks like. Yin Yin. I can't remember what that's supposed to be in Mandarin. It's been a long time since I've studied. But that's the name of the band, and the record is The Rabbit That Hunts Tigers, and that came out in 2019. Let's see if we can learn a little bit more about Yin Yin. This says, is the retired China women's national volleyball team outside hitter. Probably not referencing that. Let's see if we can find the bio in our Spotify. They also released a new album in 2022. I haven't listened to that yet. I've only really begun to digest The Rabbit That Hunts Tigers. I guess also interestingly enough, Happy Chinese New Year's. It's the year of the rabbit, and the rabbit follows the year of the tiger, which was last year. So the rabbit that hunts tigers. I wonder if there's something to do with any of that or just happenstance. But Yin Yin is exploring the potentialities of the psychedelic, danceable Southeast Asian music from the 60s and 70s since 2017, blending disco, funk, electro from all over the world into a unique type of genre. While it is putting it that way, I would say that this is a lot like Korongbin, which is another band that I need to digest more of. But from what little I've heard of that, I mean, there's even a playlist right here called Korongbin. And I remember some member of Korongbin talked about I'm using melodies that aren't the conventional thing that you would normally see in Western music. So if you break that down even further, it's just less traditionally used like modes and scales and jammed out. This is essentially psychedelic rock, psych rock movement that's been going on with like the likes of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Tame Impala. It's that. Just with other influences that kind of, you would almost look at them like ingredients. They kind of shine through a bit more. This one's obviously playing with more East Asian melodies and things of that nature. Korongbin, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a little more Eastern European or Eurasia, Western Asia, that sort of a thing. But I don't know. So that being said, the album is really great. Easy to kick back, get some work done on your computer, clean the house, this and that. It's not super demanding of your attention. It's very much a vibe out record. So I would recommend listening to it. With that, YouTube's obviously started feeding me some more albums due to me checking out the stuff they've suggested. So that kind of led me to this other one, which is a lot more ambient soundscapey. And this is an album by Takashi Kokubo. And the album is Oasis of the Wind 2, A Story of Forest and Water. It's a 1993 album. I found Takashi Kokubo on Spotify, but not this particular record. So unless you go purchase it somewhere, YouTube's going to have to be the source where you check it out. But this is very chill and zenned out. Let me see if I can discover a bit more about Takashi. Let's go to his bio. Takashi Kokubo is a Japanese ambient musician. He produces healing music that gently resonates with people's hearts. Along with the binaural microphone Cyberphonic, the sound scenes of nature around the world are recorded, and the sounds are put to good use in the work. Kokubo was nominated for the Grammy Award 2020 Best Historical Album category in U.S. compilation album Kenkyo Ongaku. I wonder if that's on here. Because that's going to be the one I'm going to listen to next, maybe. Not seeing it on a quick glance. So that'll be an assignment for later, and you can go ahead and check that out yourself. But very nice zenned out stuff. Even more like, so I'm not going to give you energy to clean the house, but if you're just like lighting an incense, lounging on your bed, on the couch maybe after a couple sippies, it's going to be pretty good. One song I came across, I still need to digest it a little more, but it's from a group called Co-Stars, one word, and it starts with a K. They got a thing with K's in their band, and hopefully that's not going a certain direction. This song is called Don't Know Why, and it features Dean and Gene Ween, which is obviously why I checked it out. And it's a nice little track. There's just a 90s kind of alt-rock, alt-pop rock record. So maybe go check out Co-Stars and see if you like it. More music. Once again, down the lane of like this international psych rock movement is Shaolin Afronauts. This one I feel was a little more adventurous in terms of the soundscape than Yin Yin. This album is Flight of the Ancient, and that came out in 2011. So this was 8 years before Yin Yin. For context, that may or may not matter much. Oh, let's play this. This is one of those great compilations of this song, and you'll understand. That was the kid running into a recycling bin. Wonderful, I know. Oh, here's one. I think we can play the audio and it should be alright. This is a pastor goes insane, and Sarah underscore Parker 444 on Instagram posted this drum along video to it.
His return, and the closer we get to him, the faster things are going to happen. The faster the healings, the faster the deliverance, the faster. We're getting closer to his return, and the closer we get to him.
Yeah. That pastor is insane. Didn't have to scream for me to know that. Oh, hey. Alright, more music. Here's something I posted that Questlove posted, and we'll kind of get into this a little bit, but this is about the new Lil Yachty record. Lil Yachty's not... It's a name I've heard, but a name I know nothing about. Guess he was born in 1997, so he's a young lad. How many records has he put out? Quite a few. I think his first one was Teenage Emotions in 2017. So he is very much part of the new, younger generation. It's kind of that auto-tune mumble rap thing. So I'm not inclined to like that kind of stuff very much. But he released this new record called Let's Start Here. And let me read to you what Questlove had to say about it. I had to let 24 hours go by just so I could process this. Then I hesitated because I didn't want to use hyperbole to naturally give the trolls ammo to hate it, or to further evidence sort why my cosigns are whack. I don't know, man. After about 3 listens, and I thought I'd never say this, and not because I didn't expect this from Lil Yachty, but just in general I didn't expect this from music. How should I put it? I really, 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 really love this Lil Yachty record, and I love when artists pull off a good departure record. Departure albums are when musicians pull a complete creative left turn, most times as a career sabotage of feeling doomed to not be able to live up to a standard they set, not being able to make the Thelma and Louise jump, quitting the job relationship, but you give them a chance to fire you, sort of thing. Some famous Departure albums backfired. Sgt. Pepper's wound up making the Beatles even more important, further proving you couldn't just do Tin Pan Alley show tunes and think that is going to get rid of the screaming fan base. Now the entire world wants a piece of you. Some were pure art that turned off the fan base that came to the party for seconds of what you served before. Paul's Boutique, Around the World in a Day. Some seemed like career disasters with critics. Dylan's Self-Portrait and Davis's On the Corner and Gay's Here My Dear. And then some came just for the sheer sake of surprise, and man, it's like, what the fuck did I just listen to? Like Kid A and Kamal the Abstract, Back to Black, A Seat at the Table. This aptly titled Let's Start Here LP might be the most surprising transition of any music career I've witnessed in a minute, especially under the umbrella of hip-hop. I remember at Divine Styler _1 has a sophomore release that shocked me, and I'm still processing the third Jungle Brothers for Life LP some 30 years later. But man, whatever you put in your Wheaties, bro, keep going. Shit like this, envelope pushing, got me hyped about music's future. So, it's a lot of high praise in that post by Questlove. He references Kid A, some Marvin Gaye records and Dylan records that I've heard of but don't know very well myself. Need to give those a listen. Back to Black. I feel like I'm mixing that up with AC/DC, and I just can't assume that he's talking about AC/DC when he's talking about Creative Left Turns. AC/DC is pretty much just AC/DC. Oh, the Sgt. Pepper's thing, I mean... But this is mumble rap, Lil Yachty, so I'm like, okay, it's not what I'm inclined to like. Let's Start Here is the 5th studio album by American rapper Lil Yachty, released on January 27th, 2023, through Concrete Records. It is his first studio album since Lil Boat 3 2020, and follows his 2021 mixtape, Michigan Boy Boat. The album is a departure from Lil Yachty's signature trap sound, so trap, pretty much mumble rap, and is instead heavily influenced by psychedelic rock. So, yeah, went from trap to kind of messing with the psychedelic rock thing, and there's still flavors and elements of trap in there. I've listened to this record twice now, and I was listening to it a lot during Project Zomboid, which is it's a great record for that, because this is a very chill record. It's really spacey. You can hear Pink Floyd influences, Radiohead influences, stuff like that, and it's really great. It's definitely honoring some things that have come before, but it's how he's taking trap and blending it with these older psychedelic sounds. I'm like, the synth and keyboard work in this record is great. That's my favorite part of it so far. And yeah, it really surprised me. So it won over somebody who's not inclined to like trap influenced stuff. And it's just really creative, and it's a vibe, as they say. So I would recommend giving it a try, even if you're not normally into this kind of music. It might be a good bridge record to help people get more into trap, or trap people to get more into psychedelic rock. So hopefully Lil Yachty's gonna keep doing some good stuff, and I don't know much about him. Hopefully he's a cool guy that is worth supporting. I'll learn more after this record, definitely. So, with that, I think just based off of that, I listened to a Tom York interview recently that I found really inspiring. Can't think of where it was. It came up in the shuffle, so it would take a little too long for me to pull it up now, but it was really good, and having heard the little Radiohead influence in this record got me kind of in a Radiohead mode. So then I re-listened to Radiohead's The King of Limbs from the Basement, which was recorded December 2011. I highly recommend listening to that if you've never listened to it. It is the best way, probably, to digest the King of Limbs material. A lot of comments in the YouTube video would suggest the same thing. I love the King of Limbs record. I loved it when it first came out. A lot of people say it's their worst record, or they don't like it, or they don't get it. But then a lot of the comments are like, once I listened to it live here, it helped me like love the record. So Radiohead, The King of Limbs from the Basement. Look that up and give it a listen, especially if you were a little turned off by that record and liked other Radiohead records more. With that, let's get into movies. Movies. What movies did I watch last week? Let's do a quick reminder. Okay. So the last film I think I talked about was Flesh and Blood by Paul Verhoeven, and that movie sucked other than a couple little moments that were sort of intriguing. The next day we watched Barton Fink by the Coen brothers. I had never seen this film before. We've been slowly trying to catch all the Coen bros films I haven't seen lately. And this was one of them, and on a lot of lists that I looked before I watched it, it's top 5 for a lot of people. So definitely had a little bit of like a reputation to live up to. And what can I say? It's another Coen Brothers movie. I really love it. It's thick with metaphor and symbolism, but it's not totally about that and doesn't hinge on that. But it's about this playwright who gets hired to write a film in California for Hollywood. And then he's like slowly losing his mind. This is like almost like Coen Brothers' The Shining. And John Goodman's a very key character in the story, and that's all I'll say. But this is probably one of my favorite John Goodman performances, and I had no idea. And there's a very particular scene with John Goodman that gets very surreal with some flames and things like that. And wow, I think I haven't like just been kind of mouth hanging open like, oh, this is great in a minute. So Barton Fink came out in 1991. As with all Coen Brothers films, I'll have to see it a few times to like really digest it and decide where it goes on my list. But it's great. We watched Miller's Crossing before this one, and that one was really good. But I like Barton Fink a lot more. They were developed around the same time. Yeah, that is one interesting little bit of information about Barton Fink, because they wrote this while they were working on Miller's Crossing. Let's see here. All right, this is the background and writing. In 1989, filmmakers Joel and Ethan Coen began writing the script for a film eventually released as Miller's Crossing. The many threads of the story became complicated, and after 4 months they found themselves lost in the process. Although biographers and critics later referred to it as writer's block, the Coen brothers reject this description. It's not really the case that we were suffering from writer's block, Joel said in 1991, but our working speed had slowed, and we were eager to get a certain distance from Miller's Crossing. They went from Los Angeles to New York and began to work on a different project. In 3 weeks, the Coens wrote a script with a title role written specifically for actor John Turturro, who plays Barton Fink, with whom they'd been working on Miller's Crossing. The new film, Barton Fink, was set in a large, seemingly abandoned hotel. This setting, which they named the Hotel Earl, was a driving force behind the story and mood of the new project. While filming their 1984 film Blood Simple, the Coens had seen a hotel which made a significant impression. We thought, wow, Motel Hell, you know? being condemned to live in the weirdest hotel in the world. It's that's a really good way of describing the overarching vibe of the film. And yeah, so I'm gonna stick with that. Barton Fink is their version of The Shining. Take that for what you will. No need to really look at reviews, partially because it's a lot of 5 stars, 4.5 stars, and anybody going lower than that, I'm not really that interested in their opinion. You can go find it yourself, because this is a wonderful movie. Let's see here. After Barton Fink was The Scout. We've also been going through a lot of old Brendan Fraser films. And this was my suggestion. This was always a favorite from when I was younger. Let's see here. I think the Discord homies maybe didn't love it as much as I do. And that's understandable because it hasn't aged that well. It's a lot of really dated, silly concepts about masculinity and success and mental health and psychology. It's just really dated. But that being said, it's a Albert Brooks film. So if you're into Albert Brooks type comedy and delivery, it's great. But I could get how that's not for everybody's taste. And Brendan Fraser is great in it. But he is kind of like manic man child, which I guess he got sort of typecasted for that a lot. I'll read a 2-star review for this one. This is from Connor Carey. Extremely lightweight and disappointingly disposable, especially considering its 2 stars were both in their prime when this came out. Albert Brooks and Brendan Fraser are both fine and have an appealing chemistry together, but this falls flat as both sports film and a comedy, not finding the right balance of either, and for the most part, it's largely unfunny. You never really know what kind of movie you'll get in terms of quality when it comes to Michael Ritchie, and sadly, this is one of his weaker efforts, a criminal waste of Diane Wiest as well. That was the psychologist. She's the mom in Edward Scissorhands. And honestly, I got to agree. This is a 4-star movie for me because I think the charm is in the music and the characters. But I think they are correct. And that's just my personal taste. I can't disagree that this is a 2-star, 3-star for some people in terms of what they expect from a film. So yeah, maybe I'll have to knock it down to about 3 stars because I think once you get around the weirdness of it, that it does go from dramatic to a sports film to a comedy, and it'll like kind of like give you whiplash from going from a funny moment to like, oh, this is dark. But I think that's why it stuck with me when I was younger, because I'm liking it because Brendan Fraser's being silly. Albert Brooks is just a cantankerous old bastard who just doesn't like anything and tries to weasel his way in and out of stuff. But then it'll just suddenly flip and be like really serious, and you're like, oh man, like, is Brendan Fraser gonna like do something fucked up? And they really lean into that, and maybe that's how it's a little dated because of how it portrays mental health. But when I was younger, that kind of put it over the edge for me because it wasn't just a regular old baseball movie. It had other things going on. But is that executed well? Is it put together well? Probably not. So that's a 2-star review. I gave it 4. I'm going to move it to 3 just after working through it like that. See, that's the kind of things we can do here on the Jacob Wayne Show. We can change our minds when given new information, new perspective. Then we watched Space Truckers. Stayed up late watching that with my buddy Neil. Nobody else wanted to join. This is a very stupid, bad movie, but one of those so bad it's good. I was highly entertained. Um, oh, what was I? What did I describe it as while we were watching it? Oh, man. I cannot remember. I wish I could. But this is a John Canyon, played by Dennis Hopper, is one of the last independent space transport entrepreneurs. Rough times force him to carry suspicious cargo to Earth without questions being asked. During the flight, the cargo turns out to be a multitude of unstoppable and deadly killer robots. Um, this also stars Stephen Dorff as sexy, attractive man, mostly in his underwear through most of the film, and Debbie Mazar, sexy, attractive actress who's in her underwear most of the film, and gets sexually accosted by Charles Dance, I believe. If you don't recognize that name, that's the father of Tyrion Lannister, the daddy Lannister in Game of Thrones, the Doctor in Alien 3, bad guy in Last Action Hero, I believe. Um, you've seen him in a lot of stuff. And he plays a mad scientist who gets almost destroyed by these robots, and then he rebuilds himself into like this kind of like cyborg thing, and he's trying to have sex with Debbie Mazar, and it's absurd and ridiculous, and he has like a penis that's like a lawnmower. It's absurd. And yeah, very dumb, very entertaining though. I was a little blown away that Dennis Hopper agreed to do this and Charles Dance agreed to do this. And I remember what it was. I thought this film was kind of like a low budget, right wing um, Fifth Element. So a Fifth Element is the big, flashy, liberal, gay sci fi space movie. Then this is the MAGA, low budget, like Fifth Element movie. And I don't mean MAGA like in a terrible, like racist, homophobic sort of way, like MAGA is, but just the silly parts, like the, gosh dang it, we're just out here trucking in space, and if these, you know, robots didn't come in and take our gerbs, and, you know, I tried to make that sound as nice as I could, and I just ended up insulting that again. So my apologies. I didn't want to go down that road, but I guess I just can't talk about it without giving it shit. So I actually meant it as sort of a charming thing. Let's just move on. We then watched Basket Case 3, The Progeny. That is another Frank Henenlotter film, and I really love this director. I only have one more film left in his filmography, and that's Bad Biology that came out in 2008. This movie was the movie before it that came out in 1991. So he took a very long break after this one. I'll read the description here. Henenlotter ups the ante in the final part of his trilogy by introducing a new member to the family, the potentially monstrous fruit of hideously deformed Belial's loins. If you don't recall Basket Case 1 or 2, Belial is the main focus. He's the thing in the basket. Spoiler. But watch Basket Case 1 and 2 first. Definitely. But these are Belial's kids. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Watch Basket Case 1 and 2. And then this one. They are very inappropriate. They're exploitation films. Not horror films. There's horror elements, but these are definitely commenting on sex, violence, and rock and roll and all this stuff. And trying to mess with you, kind of like a John Waters film. And I'm just even looking at a picture of Belial right now, and that was the name I used when we jumped into Project Zomboid. I was like, I think I'm going to be Belial. Crazy little fucker. That one's another one that it's like so bad it's good. Like this will be terrible to some people, but it's a 5 star for me. But obviously not because of like technical ability. I just love the snarky punk rock fuck you of all of it, and its imagination and creativity, and I'm for it. Then we continued our Paul Verhoeven filmography watch and did RoboCop last night. RoboCop is so much better than Flesh and Blood, which was Paul Verhoeven's film before it. Um, Man, RoboCop is a well-known film, so no need to really break it down. But I think I love it even more on this watch than I have other times I watch it. I think every time I watch this movie, I love it more and more. Um, Man, there is one really good review. Okay, yeah, this is Matt Singer. He gave it 4.5 stars. This review may contain spoilers. Uh-oh. He says, the bad guy's name is Dick Jones. The super killer robot is defeated by a flight of stairs. A man falls in a vat of toxic waste and is instantly turned into a mutant fish creature thing. And then he's hit by a car and is instantly liquefied like he's a human water balloon. God, I love Paul Verhoeven. He is correct. That is the best summation of why this film is awesome. Amongst other things, if you love Red Foreman, you'll love his take as the bad guy in this. He's fantastic. Let's see here. Give a quick little shout out to, I believe, Phil Tippett. He is an American movie director and Oscar and Emmy Award winning visual effects supervisor and producer. He specializes in creature design, stop motion, and computerized character animation. Over his career, he has assisted ILM and DreamWorks, and in 1984 formed his own company, Tippett Studios. His work has appeared in movies such as the original Star Wars trilogy, Jurassic Park, and RoboCop. So, the little mech police officer that's like the bad guy's corporate push for roboticized policing, that whole thing is a Phil Tippett creation. And after watching Phil Tippett's amazing movie Mad God, which you need to see just for the sheer respect of the visual effects work that went into it, stop motion masterpiece in my opinion. That's Phil Tippett's movie. But after having watched Mad God and then you go back and watch RoboCop, you're like, oh wow, like you can see his character and style and humor in how this thing is animated. Like when the thing falls over down the stairs, it's like on its back squealing like a pig, and it's just this weird robot pig squealing, and its little toes like twitching, and it's so great. The work and attention to detail is fantastic, and Phil Tippett, I would highly recommend just go listen to one of his interviews. He's a really interesting guy. His appearance on WTF was especially great to me. So kudos to Paul Verhoeven, Phil Tippett, RoboCop. And that about sums it up. So I think I will transition to a trailer reaction and call this episode good. So let's go over to the trailer. All right. Let's do this trailer reaction for Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods. All I will say is now that they're restarting the DC universe, the DCU rather than the DCEU, I am curious if they are going to do anything in these last DCEU films to set up the reboot, like a Flashpoint thing, or if they're just releasing these movies and they are what they are and then it's just done. So I wonder if there will be any hints in this, but otherwise, let's just watch the trailer. Here we go. Lucy Liu.
We are at war. We will annihilate everything. Champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us.
You are very menacing. I just want you to know that.
A lot has changed in the last few years. The wizard gave me superpowers. And then everybody got superpowers.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right, here's the situation.
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
The daughters of Atlas are coming to hunt.
I gotta pause it right there. I'm so sick of taking pop songs and then making dramatic action movie remixes of them. This Drake. Whatever. It's not for me.
Children stole the power of the gods. You ripped it from our father's core.
Okay, I feel like maybe I should be writing all this down.
Give us the powers, child.
Your world will not survive this.
You want these powers? Come get them!
Hey, Khaleesi!
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right,
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
we have one job to do. Save the world. Billy!
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
I can't do this. Take my powers back. You gave them to me so you could take them back, right?
I spent millennia searching for a worthy champion. You know exactly what must be done.
Billy, what are you doing? I have to do this.
We end this now.
Yeah, we do.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
I'm getting old and cynical, I think. That seemed like a big old mess to me. Lots of cool looking CGI, stuff like that, but it rings a little hollow in terms of looking forward to a story or a narrative. I really liked the first one, though, and I know how trailers are these days, so I'm definitely going to go see it, give it a chance. I was surprised by how much I liked the first one. And, but yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I should be doing these trailer reactions anymore, because I just don't feel like I'm giving you the hype that you might want for this. It just doesn't do anything for me. And I don't even really watch trailers for movies that I really want to see, because I want to leave it, like, not spoiled. So, you know, this is just kind of confirming it. I don't know if I will do trailer reactions, like, at least not as a separate, consistent thing. I'll still do them, but they'll just be attached to my podcast. Fun little thing we can do every now and again. Because kudos to all of you on YouTube that do trailer reactions and, like, keep the energy up for every single one of them. And, like, well, what if it, what does it mean this? Is blah, 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 the MCU or the DCU? Like, what's it mean? But I'm like, meh. That looks like another big budget CGI mess of a superhero movie that I think contributes to superhero fatigue. There will always be great stories to tell from comics and superheroes, but you gotta start putting a little more effort into that story and the acting and all that. Maybe not even the acting. Like, the acting's usually really great. It's just, you can't just keep doing Spider-Man 2, you know? And you can't keep doing Spider-Man 1. Gotta have a new angle, a new approach. Can't always be a giant, crazy CGI battle in the third act. I don't know. Anyways, I suppose that's the end of this one, and it'll also be the cap off, since I won't release this video separately, to this week's episode of The Jacob Wayne Show. So I will see you next time. Ta-ta! Thank you for listening to The Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fakoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the